a week from last week, we felt the players carried a little bit of fatigue into last week's game, but the plan was to get them ready for this trip on the road and fresh and going. So the week panned out pretty well for us. They came in really well prepared and played with that intensity that we expect.
Funny game with all scoring to one end. How did you read it sort of throughout?
Yeah, obviously that breeze didn't feel like it was going to have too much of an influence on the game, but it certainly did. It really helped one team get the ball deeper inside their forward line at this end, and it was hard to really get it deep where you could put the opposition under real pressure at the other end. And obviously some of those shots at goal at that other end were pretty hard to kick unless you were getting in close. And really it was obviously had a bigger impact than it looked.
John, the early prediction was that no club could carry two ruckmen into a game, that the sub rule would make it too hard. But why has it been so effective for you?
Well, it's the type of players we've got. I think that's certainly a key. We know Cox is a high possession winning ruckman. He's got great running capacity. He's not just, but he's also a very good tap ruckman. It's not as though he's giving up something in his other strengths. And Nat knew he's going to develop into a very similar type of player. He's got the explosive brilliance around the ball on the ground. Good tap ruckman as well. He's going to develop even more in that area. And they can both impact as forwards.
With all the talk of Adelaide during the week, John, obviously they were going to come out with some heat. How pleased were you that you boys were able to absorb that early when they were obviously in front?
Yeah, in a way, it's a good experience for our group now to know they'll learn from a team that comes out with all the talk about, right, this is it, they're going to throw everything at us. That's fine. I don't know whether that was going to be any more heat than we faced against the Gold Coast last week or against Collingwood the week before. And the deal was we don't lose our focus. We understand our focus on every contest and then reset and go again.
Do you feel you're making significant inroads on the road? You've been through some tough times in the last 3 years in that regard.
Yeah, it's always that interesting stat that good teams win away from home. We haven't been a great side over the last couple of years. We're developing that, so we expect that we'll perform a lot better away from home. And this year we're starting to show the benefits of that.
John, how this word of footy's potential, you've been able to nurture it down West Coast. How did that happen? What's the key to making what looks like a very good squad become a good squad?
Yeah, it's I think having a clear vision, both the players and the squad being clear about where you're heading, and then being able to stick with what that vision is, not panic and change too much because there's a lot of questions about how long it's taking or when it's going to happen. My view is that if you change and react because it hasn't happened as quickly as you want it to, you will then add a longer period of time before things start to turn. And we've been developing Scott Selwood as a midfielder for a number of years now. We've put a lot of time and effort into Pat McGinnity as that Dow backman. Will Schofield's been on our list for a while and he's been just developing along nicely. You go through Nat Nui. I've just been easing him in with Cox. Nick had to do a lot more work early last year while Coxie was still building his fitness. But Nick's starting, he's going to just continue to improve and get better. So just believing in what those guys are going to bring. Shuey, another one.
It's tougher keeping the belief within the squad or keeping it in the front office where they get a bit ahead?
No, the squad's been very, very strong. Yeah, very strong. And generally they're hearing directly from myself and the other coaching staff. So I think that's pretty strong. There's no doubt players question it. We challenge our players to give us feedback if they're losing confidence, and if we get that, we can address that. And that's been happening over the past couple of years. And the players embraced what we asked them to, some minor changes we made through the pre-season, and they're really pleased to be feeling and seeing the rewards.
Kurt more focused at the moment? Kurt, is he more focused as well?
He's slowly working back to peak fitness. He's missed a couple of games with minor injuries, which has been disappointing. But he was as focused for this game as I've seen him for a long time, and I think he's starting to really enjoy playing with Shuey and Scott Selwood. He hasn't played, probably hasn't played 10 games with Scott Selwood yet out of Scott's 50. So I think he's seeing the potential in those guys, Marson, and he's helping nurture those guys along, but he's very focused on his footy in the team.
What sort of challenges have you given him, John? Have you challenged him again to become a game-breaking midfielder? I know you eased him in early.
Yep.
What challenges are you throwing him?
Well, our challenge to Daniel was that we will do everything to support him to get back to how good he wants to be. And so it's up to him. He could come back and just say, I'll just float around, not go through the middle much and try and impact the game and do all that. But, he's only still relatively young, considering he hasn't played a lot of football over the last 2 or 3 seasons. That's going to be a bonus for him in terms of his age. So I know a lot of the sore spots he had in his body a couple of years ago are right now. It was a matter of overcoming his hamstring injury, and his body's in as good a shape as it was 3 or 4 years ago.
Your back six obviously doesn't get a lot of recognition. How do you feel they're developing?
Yeah, really pleased. You know, we talked about Sam Butler came back in today, but we've been playing a relatively young back six with McGinnity, Shepherd, Schofield, Smith back there, still relatively young. But Glass and Hearn have given really good stability. Having Butler back out there today, Adam Selwood playing a lot more back. Those players' experience goes a long way to helping those younger players develop. Over the next few weeks, we'll have some good issues to work through with Beau Waters being available over the next few weeks. Mitch Brown, Eric McKenzie, all that have been really good defenders for us, and will be putting their hand up.
You also made some changes this week too. What sort of pressure is leaving on some of the players? Obviously, you're getting your feedback here now too. Is that statement pretty clear to the players that there is pressure coming from you?
Yeah, I think the players are really keen on that. We're really clear on where the squad's at. We've got some really good young players that are waiting for their opportunities, and they're consistently playing good football in the WAFL. And their opportunities, they will come, they just don't know when they'll come, and they've got to make sure they maintain that focus. But the way the squad's playing at the moment, we're not forced to make any rush changes. We'll continue down the pathway that we believe is going to take us to becoming a very, very good side over the next couple of years, with developing the right number of players.
John, what was the assignment you gave?
Sorry?
Just curious game today, what did you make of how important was he today?
He looked really sharp today and clean, and demanded a lot of attention from the opposition. And really, I think now with Pritis and even Scott Selwood, Shuey going through there, it's looking like it's going to give opposition teams a few more headaches.
It's hard for an opposition to shut down Kuru and Pritis as your...
It's going to be harder and harder, I think, and we're building up where the other player that's in there will be a damaging player as well.
Was injury worry in the second quarter? What was that? Is he okay?
You're testing me. I can't really remember. I don't know what it was. He recovered from that pretty quick and went back on. Yeah, so no problems at all.
And another injury or anything at all?
No.
Besides that?
No.
John, what was the assignment you gave Hearn in the first half?
No specific assignment other than play the way we're building him up to play within the group of back 6 or 7 players there. So they work really well together to make sure that they all play to their own strengths.
Was it made easier for him by like kicking him long and high into his ear?
In that second quarter, that was again that was hard to penetrate, hard to really test out if the player was back loose, and it was hard to get the ball away from him. So we found the same in the first quarter. We felt as though Adelaide players marked too many of our balls when we were going forward because we weren't getting the contest high enough up the ground.
7 wins, John. How do you feel you're tracking in terms of what you might?
Oh, really pleased with what the players are doing. So it's and I've said it all the way through. We're still going to be challenged by. We've got some big challenges coming up. We go home for Port Adelaide. We follow up with Carlton, and then after our break, I think Geelong and maybe St Kilda. I'm not sure what order, but these are the challenges we need to keep testing ourselves. But we're pretty pleased with the way we've met most of the challenges so far this year, and what we've learnt from games against teams like Collingwood and Sydney and Hawthorn. So we've got to make sure that throughout this season we solidify what we've been doing, with the view that there's still areas we have to keep improving at.
To be in this position now, has the prospect of finals become an expectation again, rather than...
Certainly not an expectation, no. I'm really keen to win our 8th game. That's my absolute focus. And when we get that, we'll celebrate that and move on and aim to do everything we can to win the next one.